3 hours of the regular show on terrestrial radio, and you wanted a little bit more, so that's why you found the Gun Talk After Show podcast, where we saved all the best things that we can't say on regular radio. Now here's Tom, Michelle, and Jim for the Gun Talk After Show.
All right, we're in the after show portion of Gun Talk. We're joined by Jim Kinsey and the fellow who is not Michelle, Tom Hennig.
Thank you.
Tom, thanks for handling the calls today. Usually you're helping with the board and everything else, but you're having to be Michelle today. So how many people call and say, wait, you're not Michelle?
I just won today.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe they're getting to know you.
Slow day, yeah.
You have to let her know. Says you were missed, but barely. I think she's off at a match, isn't she, Jim?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
She's shooting. Can you imagine that? Taking time off to actually go shoot.
Yeah, she's. If it had been anything else, I would have told her no, right?
Right.
Yeah, right. Like you're such a hard guy,
Yeah, right.
So which one of us do you think is having more fun today?
Ooh.
I will defer. Actually, let's take a call on line number 3. Robert's calling us out of California. Hey, Robert, you got a range report for us?
Yeah. Tom, is this Tom?
Yes, sir.
Yes, hi. Yeah, about 3 weeks ago, I took some friends out for a range day, and one of them had a brand spanking new 4570 Marlin camp gun, lever action.
Mm-hmm.
And he hadn't got around to shooting it yet, and I had to try it. And I had always heard that 4570s tend to have a really big thump, and you really feel the recoil.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, well, I don't care. I have to do this.
Okay.
And so after he fired it a little bit, I said, do you mind? And he said, go ahead. So I picked it up, and I was, first of all, amazed at how light this thing is.
Mm-hmm.
As far as just actual weight goes. It was incredible. And so I shouldered it up and got a good tight grip on it, expecting the worst. And I squeezed that trigger, and it was just incredibly moderate. I was expecting to get kicked, and I got shoved.
Well, yes, that's an excellent way to put it, because you've got a big bullet that's not going real fast. It is more of a shove. 300 Magnum, for instance, comes back fast because the bullet's going fast. So the rifle comes back fast. But you lob a pumpkin out of the end of that barrel at a reasonable speed, and it'll shove you, but it's not going to smack you.
Yeah, and now he did say that he was only shooting 325s out of it, factory.
Okay.
But still, I was expecting a little more abuse.
Did you have fun?
Oh my God, yes. I always have fun when I go to the range. I mean, there's no other way. I mean, I'd rather go to the range any day than do pretty much anything else. And I've taken new guys out and who weren't real sure, because they they heard a lot of bad things. And I said, look, the most important thing you can do out here is to have fun. Be safe and have fun.
Yep. Exactly.
If you can do that, you're going to have a good time out here, and you're going to hit your target.
Yes. Well, I am so glad that you shot that rifle. I love the 4570. I love the lever action. That's pretty cool. I have one older Marlin 4570, and then I have a newer Marlin, but it's chambered for the 450 Marlin. I keep saying I'm going to do this. I haven't done it yet, but I need to find out if I can get somebody to rebarrel it, because I want to take it back to 4570. That way, the 450 Marlin really didn't do anything, and there was no reason for it, particularly not when you can load up 4570 ammo. But
you need a reason to do it. Come on.
Well, hey, I'm self-enabling here. Come on, give me a break. Hey, Robert, thank you so much for that range report. That was cool. Appreciate that, sir. I just, last night, my wife and I watched a movie. Ryan, our son, suggested it. It's dark. It's not like a happy movie, but it was very cool. It's called Wind River. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
No.
All right. It's set in Wyoming in winter, and Jeremy Renner is the lead in it, and he's a fish and game predator specialist. And gets involved in a murder investigation, and there's a lot of gun stuff going on. But one of the coolest parts, first he's using a bolt-action rifle for things. And the very first scene, I think, my first thought was, hey, he's shooting left-handed. Okay, cool. And then later on in the show, he pulls out a Marlin. Well, first they show him reloading and doing it right and chamfering case mouse and using a powder trickler. And then he's loading straight wall cases for his Marlin. And it's either 444 Marlin or 4570. You really can't tell. But the fact that he had a Marlin with a scope on it with the cartridge holder, the nylon like Uncle Mike's around the stock.
Yep.
And used it, as they say, to good effect. That's actually a gun movie, but it was really interesting as well, called Wind River.
I have to look into that.
Yeah. So it's kind of it's not exactly a Quigley. There's actually more to it than that. But it was cool.
I liked when our caller Robert just mentioned, he says, I'd rather go to the range and do anything else. I was going to say, congratulations, you've passed the audition.
You mean it's a Hollywood movie that got the details right?
Yeah.
They actually did, and I'm not sure. I'm going to find out more about it, because when they started showing him reloading and doing that stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, somebody involved with this movie really knew their stuff. Because they're showing, tight shots of the reloading press and the powder trickler, and they actually show him with a case mouth chamfering tool doing that. And I'm thinking, okay, that's cool. That was really something. So I was pretty excited about the whole thing.
Cool. Check it out.
Yeah, exactly. Tell you what, let's take a quick break here. We'll come back. I know there's some stuff we want to talk about, and you may even have your own range report for all I know. We'll work on that. So we'll be right back.
Whether you are a first-timer or seasoned shooter, Double Star has the guns, edged weapons, and parts you desire. Our products are made in America and held to the highest quality standards. No exceptions. Double Star and Ace Limited manufactures products people bet their lives on without hesitation. That awesome responsibility motivates the Double Star family, and it will proudly protect yours. When you're ready for the best, join our family at star15.com. That's star15.com.
Stand for the Second Amendment with Franklin Armory. Their 3-position BFS Gen 3 trigger is one of the hottest products for your AR, HK, ACR, CZ, and B&T in curved and straight variations. In position 3, fire 1 round on pull and 1 round on release. Ideal for both tactical and competition use. Get a 10% discount on everything with the code word GUNTALK at franklinarmory.com.
All right, back with you here. It's the after show. We got Tom and Jim and Tom. So there you go. I'm not sure which Tom I am at this point.
Jim Sandwich, surrounded by Tom.
Jim Sandwich, that's right. So you guys been doing any shooting? Anything going on?
Well, the only bit of shooting I've done recently was taking my prize that I won at that raffle.
Which was?
The Taurus 709 Slim.
Yeah.
Which has now been returned to Taurus.
Okay. What was going on with it?
Well, at first it was just jamming a lot and stove piping and, put about 100 rounds through it, still having problems. So I took it apart, cleaned it real good, oiled it up nice, brought it back out, put about another 100 rounds through it. But the problem was the slide lock kept locking open before the magazine was empty. And that would happen about 3 or 4 times, for every 7 rounds you put through it.
Right.
And like, well, I can't deal with this.
Rely on that to save your life.
Just shoot it once and then throw it at somebody.
Is there any chance that the way you're holding the pistol, you're actually pressing the slide lock upwards?
That was one of the questions when I brought it back to the store. Mm-hmm. A gentleman there said, do me a favor and just point it at the clock over there. I want to see how you're holding it.
Right.
And I said, okay, that was one of his thoughts. And he said, no, that's not an issue with the way you're holding it.
That's kind of the first thing is because I've done that. I've also, put a safety back on when I was shooting, just depending on how you hold a particular gun, kind of a deal. So, okay.
I've had bad mags give the same or a very similar symptom.
Right. And I only had the one mag to use.
So it's back at Taurus now?
It's back at Taurus now.
All right. Well, you'll get it back.
I'm waiting.
They'll take care of it. They're good about that.
It's a thing. It's a mechanical thing. stuff happens. So cool. Well, we were up at Boondock shooting guns this week, having a bunch of fun.
God, I feel sorry for you, Tom.
Let's see. We're shooting some steel out at 300 yards, using the drone to do some nice video of that. Using ATN electronic optics, which is almost like an oxymoron because it's not pure optics, it's electronic screen like scope. But talk about your 2-shot sighting in. We did that, and it worked perfect.
Really?
You shoot, you get a bullet hole on target, and then you basically put it back on the sandbags, put it on, where you were aiming, and just dial the reticle back up to the bullet hole, which is, of course, the whole 2-shot sighting in method anyway.
Right.
But it was slick. It worked really well. And then we did some thermal, and when you use thermal, you have to have something hot or cold to aim at, with your scope.
Oh, gotcha. Otherwise,
because you're not seeing through it like optics.
Right.
So you can use we use those little shake 'em up hand warmers.
Oh yeah.
Little packages you get. Just tape those to a target.
There you go.
Worked great.
Necessity being the mother of invention.
Oh, but okay. Here's the cool part. We did that. We did that on steel. We shot steel with it. When the bullet hits the steel, you can see it where it gets hot.
From the friction of the impact. Really, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
That is neat. Now, is that standard speed, or are you doing any slow-mo thermal?
No, we weren't doing slow-mo on that, but just glad you mentioned that. This thing, both the optics that they had, will shoot video.
SD card or something in it? Or?
Just put an SD card in it, and you're rolling video, so while you're either shooting targets or if you're out hunting, you would have video of that.
Very cool.
Isn't that cool?
That is neat.
Man, that is so slick. And you can have one set up. You say, okay, say you had a 300 blackout. You set up your reticle sighted in with 110 grain bullet, and then you set it up again sighted in with a 220 grain bullet. Very different trajectories, and you just have different profiles built in. You hit a button, and the reticle changes, and you can aim on with either one. You just have which one you're using.
I could have gotten some great footage of that buck running away from last fall.
It's not supposed to work like that, but I understand.
Footage, yeah. It reminds me of the 2-position driver's seat memory position thing in your car.
Yeah, that is kind of like that.
Yeah.
I love those because when I get in the car, it always goes to a position which crushes my legs or throws me backwards or something. You're going, where's it going? How do I stop it? And who's been in here? Like the Munchkins, and like little kids playing with
7
these things.
dwarfs
What's going on?
Hijacking the car.
Oh, man. So let me see. What else did we shoot there? We did, we did it the week before. We were did a couple of days with Rob Latham.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we were shooting at 300 yards with a 10 millimeter 1911, hitting steel.
At 300 yards?
At 300 yards. Yes.
Holy cow.
We also, I don't want to give the whole thing away until the video's out, but we made up another kind of like an ice bucket challenge, but it's a shooting challenge deal.
Okay.
And we had Ryan and Steve Horseman, who's a really good competitive shooter, and Rob Latham. Okay.
A real nobody in the gun industry.
Okay. Right? And I'm not going to give it away, but let's just say there's a reason that he is known as TGO, the Great One.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I mean, it's just like, okay, yeah, you're a pretty good shot, and yeah, you're a pretty good shot, and then he comes up and you just go, what just happened? Just holy smoke, So I mean, it's going to make for a really good video. We'll put that out, but it's a very cool thing.
Appreciate the tease.
And then we're finished. All right, we finished the whole thing. Right, we've been shooting video all day long, and we're done. We're starting to pack up cameras. And Rob and Steve, who shoot at the same range in Phoenix, the Rio Salado range, they said, "Well, can we shoot some?" I'm like, "Really? I mean, you guys are shooters. That's what you do." They said, "No, we never actually really get to shoot fun stuff." They've got an M1A, Springfield M1A, in 6.5 Creedmoor.
Ooh.
And we've got a range where they could shoot out at like 980 yards is the longest shot on steel.
Okay.
And they simply, while we're packing up and doing what we're doing for the crew, they're over there shooting and giggling. They're having, I mean, they just love to shoot. and they're out there winging steel at almost 1,000 yards.
Half a mile away.
M1A. And having a ball. And I just thought it was interesting. They said, well, we never really get to shoot long range like this. We got to go to Ben Avery range, and it's really controlled. And we had the whole range to ourselves. We could do anything we wanted to do.
Cool.
And which, by the way, if anybody's looking for a great long-range facility, this one is in Cutoff, Louisiana.
Okay.
When you're in Cutoff, you're getting close to being in the middle of nowhere. Just saying.
Okay.
But it is really a first-rate range. It was our first time there, and we definitely want to go back. It was so impressive.
Cool.
But that was neat. So we were doing that. Just
a shooting challenge to look forward to.
Shooting challenge. Yeah, we got a shooting challenge coming up. So that's going to be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I two things this week.
Yes?
Kind of interesting. I got a call from Michelle. Said, I don't like you guys and I won't be there Sunday. I said, yeah, it's mutual.
Same old thing.
What do you want?
Yeah, okay. It's just like, okay.
She says, evidently the distributors have been restocked with 327 Henrys in both carbine and rifle length.
Really?
I said, you had to call me, didn't you? You wish.
This is going to cost me money, isn't it?
Yeah. So she's like, we can get them. We put it in layaway. I said, layaway I could do right now, nothing else. So she's gonna order one in on my word and put it in layaway for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I went with carbine. It was 7 rounds versus 10.
Okay.
But I figure,
Yeah.
I have a birthday coming up, right?
Well, he'll get you a couple of rounds of 3.7 Federal.
I'll let you shoot it for your birthday, no problem.
He'll buy you enough to fill the magazine once. How's that?
So that was my big decision. Do I go 7 rounds or 10? I'm like 3.5-inch shorter barrel.
So it must be like a 16-inch barrel on the carbine.
16 and a half, I think, and a 20.
Yeah, well, they make. You know how they do the half, right? In case somebody measures it on one of those cold evenings that you've got there.
Yeah. Oh, you're not under 16.
That's right. Exactly. One little bit of leeway there.
That's funny. But yeah, so I figure, maybe, could I swing it quicker in a home defense situation? I wouldn't be using it for that anyway, but that's why I justified the carbine.
Well, I've kind of gotten used to. I grew up with carbines looking little, or rather lever actions looking little. Mm-hmm. And then I realized it was because I always was watching John Wayne with them.
He's 3 times the size
Such
of
a huge dude. He made them all look like little Mattel toys.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I thought was pretty cool, and I maybe you can explain why. The carbine has the big loop. That's a steel boy.
That's just a cosmetic fun deal.
It is. There's no benefit on that. On carbine
but the big loop looks cool.
Oh, okay, so that was the second reason.
Yeah. Well, now you're old enough probably to remember, maybe not first run, but second run of the Rifleman.
Oh yeah, Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck Connors.
Yeah.
So he had the big loop. And of course, he would do the spin thing to cock his rifle. I would recommend you don't.
Yeah.
Because when a gun is spinning doing a 360 degree, it can go off and point almost anywhere.
Yeah. I think it's going to look nicer when I buy that rifle rack for the Harley. It'll look great on the back of
Isn't that kind of a Terminator kind of a thing?
Yeah, it's been done, I realize, but
that's
not with a lever.
Well, the thing is, you can't leave it on the Harley because we don't want to expose it. So you got to take it into the restaurant with you.
I just drilled a hole through my saddlebag, and most of the gun does fit right in there.
Really?
It looks like a second exhaust system. It's fine. What could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong, exactly. Hey, let's take one more break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about this deal in Texas, okay?
Yes, sir.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. Shopguntalk.com.
All right, well, this latest shooting, and I hate that we have to say that because it is beyond horrific, and I don't want us to ever get to the point where we're thinking of that being a political event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to look at the faces. You need to think about the families that have been completely devastated with all of this and the pure evil that flows from that. But then you have to say, okay, what can really be done? What actually works? And I will tell you, I think people, I want your impression on this. On the one hand, the banners are becoming more strident. It's like, you people, the NRA people, you're responsible. You're the terrorist. You have blood on your hands. But I have this impression, and that's what I want to ask you, that people in the middle, regular people, are looking at this and going, that stuff that you keep calling for is really not going to do any good, and we really do need to harden up our schools and get serious about this. I'm just wondering what sense you're getting out of all this.
Well, geez, I mean, it's all been said over and over again, and you just know that they're not going to listen to you. We've been through it so many times that, anything we say is just going to be dismissed out of hand.
Well, now, are you talking, when you say they're not going to listen to you, talking about the gun folks, or just people in general?
Gun control advocates specifically.
Yeah, well, I don't care about them. I mean, I truly don't care about them. We're not going to convince them, nor do we have to, nor do we need to, and it's a waste of our efforts. I think what we do is simply work on people in the middle.
Middle ground, yeah.
Who don't know one way or the other. You're never going to get them to admit that they're wrong. They don't think they are. I think you just ignore them, or you use them as your foil when you are talking so that other people can hear you. So if you're on a Facebook page, you become the reasonable person. You never lose your temper. You never go wacko on them. And then the people who are just watching it happen, they're sitting back. They're not saying anything. They kind of come away with the impression that, the only real wacko there is the gun banner.
Yeah, that gun guy seemed to be well-spoken and controlled. And
yes.
Yeah. I have a two-prong approach. I don't know. I haven't heard it. I'm sure somebody's been talking about it. I haven't heard it. You've got the folks saying we need school resource officers, even the anti-gun folks. We forget school resource officers. That'll solve the problem. Well, a couple things are wrong with that. We're not going to ever stop crazy. It's not going to happen. We have to stop it when it starts. We have to try to do measures on the front end to reduce it, of course, but we're not going to stop it totally. So if that is your end game, it's not going to happen. As far as school resource officers, that's great until they get shot or they cower and run away, whatever the case may be. I guess my two-prong approach would be, instead of having a school resource officer or arming volunteer teachers, and some people still think we're, advocating arming every school teacher.
Right.
Why not have school resource officers dressed? So he's a cop, and those guys or gals train with the volunteer trained armed school teachers. So you've got backup.
Yeah, I like that. I think the FASTA program works with the local. In fact, I'm certain they do. They work with the local police to make it part of a cohesive team so that the teachers or other personnel on school, the cops know who they are, and the people on the staff there know what to expect when the cops come in.
Right. Now, I'm wondering, is that just, here, it's a meet and greet, or they're physically training together?
Oh, no. I think it's more than a meet and greet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think now, I don't think they're training like all 5 days, but I think they bring the cops in to, okay, this is what's going to happen, and, that whole deal. Yeah,
because to me, it just seems you're covering most of your bases there. If the armed SRO is nothing, and I don't mean safety range officer, range safety officer, that'd be RSO, wouldn't it?
Right.
Close enough. If the school resource officer is in uniform and that dissuades just one crazy person, okay, sweet. If not, you've got a multi-prong approach that gives you better odds. That's all it's going to give us is better odds. It's not going to solve anything. It's going to reduce and keep kids safe, I think.
One of the problems, of course, is these crazy kids have figured out, okay, I know where the school resource officer is. I know who he is or who she is. Mm-hmm. And I just, basically, they're a kid. They look like a kid. And they can walk up right behind them and shoot them. Mm-hmm. And now what they've done is purchased more time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
I like the lockdown idea, too, with the doors that lock them.
Revolving door, but that was an interesting idea.
Locks them in. They do have those somewhere. I'm trying to think where I've read about those or YouTubed them or something, but they do exist. It's not etherware.
And then was it Andy Brown who said that his school, his kid's school, they put in security doors. You have to buzz them in and out, but then they block the doors open during busy times.
Right. So now we're just going to schedule our shooting. It's like, well, I was going to go in the morning, but that's not convenient for me.
But the door's going to be blocked open later on.
Between 1 and 1:30. Yeah, right.
It's security theater. Once again, it's kind of like TSA, security theater.
Make the show.
Well, back to where we started, making people feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've done this. Okay, we've done this. And then when it doesn't work, you go, well, we have to do something else. Well, you didn't actually do anything in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You provided window dressing. You provided a chimera, if you will, to make you feel safe. Why don't you just get rid of all that and just decide to feel safe? It's just as effective.
Yeah, a lot less work.
Yeah, a lot less work. It doesn't cost nearly as much money. Just decide you're going to feel safer. Okay?
Change your mindset and you're good to go.
Mm-hmm. Right. We'll just go into mass hypnosis and do that. Okay. Okay, you feel safer? Cool. All right.
Great. Mission accomplished.
In the meantime, some of us are going to be getting more training. After talking with John Roberts, I got to tell you, he's an impressive dude. The guy from Boondocks.
Seems so mellow. He doesn't not an in-your-face kind of guy, just calm and collected. Yeah.
Well, he has briefed all of the media, like in Baghdad, in the middle of war zones and everything else. He was on Condoleezza Rice's detail. I think he may have been on Eric Holder's detail. I'm not sure. Not Eric Holder. Who would be the other secretary? Maybe Clinton. I'm not sure. But been at a very high level with a lot of folks. Mm-hmm. And he is definitely one of those soft-spoken guys who it would be a really... Yeah. What Mossad calls it, a terrible error in the victim selection process.
Critical error.
Yeah, critical error, yeah. He's also like you, Jim. He is a guitar fanatic, and so he's a collector.
Oh, I won't hold that against him.
Yeah, I know. So it's one of those deals.
Cool.
So, interesting guy. You just never know, do you? Soft-spoken guy you meet, and you'd never know. Been there, done that, and can still do it. So you go,
right. Well, kind of like you can't tell. It works both ways, though, and you can't tell because you don't know if somebody's a criminal or not. They could be wearing a suit and tie, and next thing you know, they're robbing a bank or whatever. But like I'm sure you saw the video of the off-duty cop in Brazil taking out the guy that attacked his woman on Mother's Day. Yeah,
the woman. She pulls her gun out and just caps that guy right there.
Yeah, and he later on did pass away. Oh. Wait, can we have a moment of silence? No. Okay.
That was all. That was it.
So,
okay.
And then,
can we have a round of applause for the woman who shouted? Yeah. Okay, good deal.
Legal holiday. So of course, the stuff on Facebook that followed was ridiculous. But she's a cop. She had the right to do it. Okay, so if she wasn't
everybody else on the planet,
right?
Yeah. When a guy rushes up, and this was like at school.
Yeah, it's right in front of a city street, really.
Yeah, and there were kids all over the place. The guy runs up with a gun out to rob people, and she just pulls a gun out. I don't know if it was in her purse.
Yep.
Was the gun in her purse?
I think so, yeah.
And, I mean, she's pop, and then was using cover and moving. And the only complaint I had was that she
kicked the gun.
In the end, she went and kicked the gun. She got it. But she also then walked up really close to him holding a gun.
Yeah.
And if you look, you've got your...
He could have kicked her or whatever.
I mean, he could have done a leg sweep. Back up, stay far enough away where he can't touch you. You've got a gun. You don't have to be close. Right. It's not a contact weapon. You can back up and still project force if you need to.
Right, but in her defense, she's probably used to approaching suspects like that.
Sure, exactly.
When you and I would say, "Hey, 30 feet away," that sounds real.
She did a great job.
Heck yeah, she was commended by. Of course, I'm drawing a blank on the official, but it was a high-up government official that said, it's a sad day that a life was lost, but she's a hero.
Well, yeah, saved everybody else. Look, if a criminal gets injured or killed, I call that a workplace hazard. That is just what happens when you decide to be a bad guy.
It's occupational hazard.
Occupational hazard.
Being an idiot. Yeah.
Just, it's what it is. I am sorry. It shouldn't happen, and I wish you hadn't chosen that. But honestly, if it's a choice between him and one of those kids, easy. Done.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I am going to, by the way, after talking with Roberts and kind of immersing myself back into the training world there, I'm going to redouble my efforts I do practice draws every day, but I'm going to get back into doing dry fire work. And it is rewarding. And what it also does, apart from the immediate benefit of getting better at trigger press and sight alignment and all of that, it also recalibrates your brain into being ready, if that makes sense.
You got to envision it. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm doing all this stuff because I may need this today. And I actually remember somebody saying, when you put on your gun, don't say, I may need this today. What you say is, this is the day I will need this. This is the day. And you put that in your head before you step out of the door. And you're just programming yourself so that you're buying yourself a split second of reaction time. Because you've already decided this is the day it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was an interesting way to put it.
Well, I mean, the old Boy Scouts motto of be prepared, their motto wasn't be paranoid. It was be prepared. You know what I mean?
There was a small branch of the Boy Scouts, but we didn't hear much about those guys.
They never could find them. They hid out really well. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with me. I had a conversation with somebody the other day about this, and it was she was telling me how she had met this guy, and he was a gun guy, and he's crazy, and she has no idea I'm a gun guy.
Yeah.
And he was crazy. I said, was he like pointing it or doing something? No, but he got in the car and he like took it off and he put it in his center console. And then when we left, he couldn't get out of the car till he put it back. She said, I just think that's wrong. I said, well, I think the thing that's wrong is that he's handling it more than it has to. What do you mean?
Why did you take it off when you got in the car?
Right. Yeah. Anytime you touch it, is unnecessary if you can avoid it.
Every time you touch it, it's a chance for something to go wrong.
Right.
The other thing is, if you have to bail out of your car in a hurry, it's in your car. Why are you taking your gun off, for heaven's sakes?
Right.
If it's uncomfortable to wear it in the car, you need a different holster, gun, belt, something.
Yeah. And like, it only takes a second to reach in the console and grab. No, you've been in an impact. You've been jarred. You don't know where you are. You roll out of the car. Then you decide to look for your gun. Yeah, it's a little late then.
Car does a smash into the back of you as part of a carjacking deal. Your
neck's torqued.
Or if you just need something happens, you've got to get out fast and go help somebody. You, again, have reduced your reaction time.
You don't want to go through your pre-flight then.
What are you doing?
It's like the morning getting dressed. It's kind of like for you, aviation guys, it's like a pre-flight. You got your wallet, you got your cell phone, you got all these life-saving devices you're going to need, including your firearm. And it's not like, oh, my gosh, it's this holy grail gun. To me, it's like my wallet, keys, watch.
I don't like to take my phone out of my pocket and put it into a charger in my car. I'll do it, but as soon as it's charged up, I put it back in my pocket. I don't leave it loose in the car.
Right.
Because if I have to bail, that's one of the things I want on me.
Life-saving devices.
I know I'm paranoid. I just don't know if I'm paranoid enough.
You're not paranoid if people really are out to get you.
This is true. And Lord knows, with my history, people are out to get me. They're coming to take me away. Ha ha.
There's a blast from the 60s.
An old reference, yeah. People under 40 have no idea what we're talking about now. Do you, Tom? No, he doesn't.
Under 40. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he'll go with that.
I'll go with that.
Yeah, go with that. Okay. Did you just get an upgrade?
He's just got 15 more years tacked on his life.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. All right, guys. Well, we're going to rededicate ourselves. And the other thing is that whole, every time they start listening, talk about their name, I want to beat up the media as much as we can. Just, you are creating the next mass murderer by making these people famous. That I know is true.
And the parallel there is, I'm an NRA lifer, right? So I must be responsible for all these shootings according to the anti-gun crowd. So let's flip it around on them. The media is responsible as much as the shooter if you keep glorifying these idiots.
Right. And I don't want to say they are responsible, but they are creating their environment that makes it attractive.
They're enabling.
They are definitely enabling at the very least. Exactly right. So there you go. So as soon as our video, and I don't know when it will be, it may be a few weeks, on this cool shooting thing that I can't talk about quite yet,
But you can continue to tease us like crazy.
That is going to be fun, though. You guys will enjoy it. It's kind of like one of those you're going, good gravy.
In closing, I got one question for you.
Yes.
You said you were hitting steel at 300 yards with a 1911-10.
Yes.
Were you aiming at the steel or just happened to hit the steel?
Well, bullet had to go somewhere.
I think they're over there somewhere.
Yeah, we're actually using a red dot.
Were you?
Red dot sight.
How high are you holding?
Feet.
Yeah,
They weren't hitting it every time. I mean, that's a given. Okay, and obviously, this has no practical value whatsoever. This is just because, hey, we're at a range and they got steel set out, and let's start at 100 and see what we can do. I mean, that's all we were doing.
More like, I bet you coffee you can't hit that sucker.
That's pretty much what it was. We were just like being goofy, like, oh, we have ammo and we have guns. What can we do with them? So, but yeah, we're probably, we did have it sighted in a little bit high, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I would say in the 6 foot range.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
I'm just kind of bulb. It's kind of like, okay, hold halfway up the berm, kind of over there by the tree, kind of a thing.
Now, is that where you take a shot, you get a bite to eat, you get out the sliding scope? And
when you shoot, well, of course, you shoot, the bullet's got to go down, and then the sound's got to come back.
Right. So double.
So it's cool. You go, bang. Ding.
Right.
Oh. And I also have to share. Speaking of sounds, we also shot some ammo from Aguila. Mm-hmm. And they have 22 rimfire. We were shooting first regular ammo in 22 with a suppressor. And it's pretty quiet, but you can hear it. But they have a couple of loads that are called the Calibri and the Super Calibri. Mm-hmm. We unscrewed the suppressor from the rifle. And when you shoot the Super Calibri, which is the faster of the two, it's all of like 550 feet per second. Mm-hmm. It just went.
Both subsonic?
I mean, it was, it's half subsonic speed.
Yeah.
It sounded, I swear you could hear the firing pin hit the case.
Wow. It
was so quiet, and we were trying to shoot at steel. Now, we were shooting like at 60 yards, and that thing is so slow you're lobbing them in.
Right, sure.
It would go tink. Just like the little bitty, it's like you threw a little pebble.
It's like a pellet gun on steroids, barely.
It's a 20-grain bullet. It's a little bitty 20-grain bullet. Uh-huh. But they said, look, if you need to shoot a varmint in your backyard, and you could do it with a revolver, and none of your neighbors will ever know.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's so cool. I mean, there was, it's kind of weird how it wasn't the biggest. It was actually the littlest and the quietest and the least powerful, but it made the biggest impression on us. We were all going, wow, that was so cool.
Yeah, Tommy's Googling right now where we can go out and buy some varmints.
Buy varmints.
Serve something to shoot.
Send me a 6-pack of varmints.
I could use a dozen woodchucks and two coyotes.
And don't forget the nutria.
Varmints, but we did have, for some of our long-range shooting, 2 bottles of baby powder.
Ooh.
So, if you want a reactive target that you shoot with a rifle at some distance, one of these baby powder plastic bottles is pretty cool, too. And then, of course, the next rain cleans it all up. I mean, you go pick up the bottle, and then you don't worry about the baby powder.
Huh. Kind of like your Cheetos.
Like the Cheetos. Cheese puffs. Yeah, exactly. The birds in the rain will take care of them.
You see the guy at Sam's Club. Oh, there's Gresham again. Break out a pallet of the cheese puffs.
Everybody the only problem with doing that is, man, your hands just get orange.
Yeah, well.
But that's okay. You just lick your fingers, it's fine. It's all over the gun.
If anybody questions your sanity, you just say, well, now I'm a musician. You can get away with that, Tom. You just bought a new excuse and didn't even realize it. You thought buying a guitar would be cool just for fun and to learn something.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I did buy a guitar.
Ta-da!
Yeah, so.
Oh, come on, spill the beans, come on.
Yeah, well, decided that I would, in my, I didn't start it when I was 16. We did figure out why, 12-year-olds can learn to play musical instruments faster. Mm-hmm. It's because they can do it for 6 to 8 hours a day, and everybody's just happy that they're not bothering them. Oh, he's still in his room. Great.
Sure beats an iPad or Xbox, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So, just trying to learn enough to be able to strum along in the background, way in the background.
So after 50 years of being a drummer, you decided to become a musician.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. That's right. I've been hanging around with musicians all this time.
Yeah, we won't get an email for that. Right.
Yeah, well, only from the drummers, because nobody, but I don't know. They probably can't hear us.
What?
Huh? What? All right, guys, have yourself a great week. Check your six. Be careful, okay?
Yes, sir.
You too.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
Well, that wraps up another Gun Talk After Show. But if you want even more gun-related stuff, don't forget to check out Gun Dealio. It's the app for Apple and Android phones that connects you to all the Gun Talk shows, plus even more. And we'll catch you next time for the Gun Talk After Show.